Well, folks, in today's video, we're going to be trying to restore this 1940s era Varney, Chesapeake, and Ohio locomotive, which has since then been affectionately renamed the Chesapeake and On Fire locomotive for obvious reasons. Anyway, we're going to be trying to get to the bottom of whatever caused this thing to put on the whole smoke show. Smoking is for steam locomotives, so we will try to correct whatever caused it. I'm really hoping that it's the commutator and not the motor, otherwise we're going to have a lot more problems, because I really want to see this engine run, but yeah, it could be any variety of problems, and there's only one way to find out. Anyway, before we get working on this, I just want to give a quick update on what happened with the eBay seller of this locomotive. After it put on its whole smoke show, I contacted the seller and explained the whole situation, and they said, well, if you're dissatisfied with it, you can send it back. But that's not really something I wanted to do, because I do really like this locomotive, so I said, hey, would you be willing to go with the partial refund? And they pretty clearly said that they didn't want that, if I'm dissatisfied, I can send it back. If not, kind of too bad. So sort of at a bit of a loss, and pretty much concluded that I was not going to get any refund for this. But then I thought of something, which is that I filmed an entire video where I took the thing out of the box and it did what it did. So, the seller doesn't know that I'm telling the truth. I could be just making this whole thing up to try to, basically get this thing cheaper. So I popped them a link to the video, and it wasn't supposed to be some extortionist like, oh, if you don't refund me, I'm going to expose you or something. I just wanted to prove that I was, in fact, telling the truth on what happened with this. And sure enough, they offered a partial refund. So, yeah, managed to get a little bit of a refund on this thing. So I'm pretty content with that. Now all we need to do is get the thing working, and I'll be a very happy camper. But, well, we don't know what's going on with this thing, but we're going to find out. So let's get started. So in the cases of most repairs, I would take this thing over to the track and try to run it to prove that, it really is not in good working order, but we already know what happened, and if there is something burning, I do not want to make it worse, so we're just going to go ahead and begin taking it apart. If you want to see what happened, I'll probably put a card up somewhere here so that you can go watch the original video where I got this thing, because, yeah, that's, it was pretty shocking what happened there. Anyway, we're going to hopefully try to remove the body there. There's our drive system. And I have another one of these Varneys. This is dated 1946. Wow. A lot of people were saying this is from 1947 or 1951. But yeah, I guess this thing is from 1946. It says right there. Oh, I'll be darned, it's from 1940, look at that. So, this locomotive, it probably rolled out about 1947, but this part was made in 1946, and this part was made in 1940. I'm sure this thing has, time to tell. It's amazing, though, that this was made, basically like 5 or 6 years before this part was, so this was sitting in a factory for quite a long time, which is interesting. Anyway, there is the motor. It, I think it's just a 5-pole. And, gee, I'm really not sure what to think of this thing. Those coils are not looking great. But in any case, let's try to lift these off, see if we can take the brushes out and have a look at what we got going on here. I don't know, everyone. Those coils are looking a little bit toasted. At least this is turning fine, but, yeah, the commutator actually doesn't look too dirty. Like, I'm not sure how well you can see it here, but, like, it's fairly shiny. So the only explanation really could be that, something's burning on the plates between, the area on the commutator, which is quite bad, obviously. So anyway, I'm gonna try to remove this brush here. Pull it down through here. So there's one brush. Yeah, you know what? There is a lot of dirt between those plates. This is a good sign. Hopefully this means that we can get this whole thing corrected there. I'm going to try to remove this other brush here. So here we are inside the motor here, and you can see the little spaces on the commutator are filled with little bits of carbon, which is pretty bad. It's hopefully our problem. The thing that makes me a bit concerned though is those coils in a lot of places are looking pretty dirty. Now it's all to one side, it could just be bits of dirt and oil which have got caught on here, but it could also very well be burnt areas, burnt coils basically. So let's hope that it's not that. We're going to try cleaning out the little plates on the commutator there, and hopefully it will correct what's going on here. Alright, we're going to go in here and try to clean those out. So there's one. Yeah, there's definitely a fair amount of carbon there. Oh, this one's not overly bad, but that could cause a short right there. Just all this gunk coming out. Go over this after, just to be sure I get them all clean. And then this one's not too bad, but yeah, it's like a little thing there. I'll try to get that off. So I got the commutator all fixed up. We're now going to just put a little bit of oil down here. It's just a little thing, and it absorbs the oil and distributes it on the bearings. This is an older thing which eventually did get phased out of most HO scale models, but old fans and things like that of the era will have that same thing. And of course there is one on the back squeezed right there. I'm going to do this part off camera because it needs to be tilted, but yeah, that's for the bearings. Well, I went ahead and basically lubricated the rest of the locomotive's mechanisms, and I got the brushes back in, so yeah, I guess all that's left to do now is to put the shell back on and hope for the best. I'm really not sure though, those coils are really not looking great, but in any case, it might work. Alright, so here we go. Let's put this shell back on here, and yeah, I guess after that we'll take it over to the track and see how it does. Alright, so we've got the locomotive all set up on the track, so let's give this thing some power. I can't say I'm entirely optimistic about it, just because a lot of those coils really were not looking so great, but in any case, let's see what we've got. Well, it's running. The current draw is still kind of high, but it's doing a much better speed than it was. Wow. Well, that's running a lot better. And the current draw is going a little bit higher. It's coming back around here. Don't see any smoke so far. Current draw is dropping again. Okay, that's good. Might just need a break in. But in any case, it's definitely running a lot better than that first run. Yeah, look at that. Well, I've now been running this thing for almost 10 minutes straight, and so far things are looking really good for it. I did stop it a couple times to make sure it wasn't overheating or smoking, and I felt the temperature. It seemed to be okay, nothing too hot. There was a little bit of heat, but nothing too severe. And I didn't see or smell any smoke, so I'm really hoping the smoke we did see last time was just coming off of the commutator and not from the coils. In any case, it is still drawing just under an amp of power, which is not as efficient as I'd like it to be, but it's a lot less than when we tested it And, I mean, you gotta cut this thing some slack. It was made in the 1940s, so its magnets are not gonna be as strong as they once were, and when the magnets weaken, the motor is just not gonna run as efficiently, and you're gonna be pulling more amps. So, considering its age, I don't think that's actually all that bad. So, yeah, I'm pretty pleased with this locomotive. I think I might order it up some neodymium magnets to get that motor running a little more efficiently, and hopefully it can be a fine runner and addition to the collection. Anyway, I want to thank you all so much for watching.